Welcome back to Red, White, and Green. I'm your host, Nathan Smith. Today we're going to be going over how to make gummies. And this is about the simplest way I've found. I've tried so many different ways and this turns out the best consistency, and fairly easy to make. So what I start with is my Loran Sweet Made Simple Gummy Mix. You can pick this up at Walmart. They have it in the party supply aisle. And I do believe it's like almost $8. So we're going to go open this right up, and inside we have two different things. We have the gelatin in one pack, and then we have the gummy mix itself, which will go in this pan. Let me go ahead and get started with the gummy mix and the gelatin real soon here. Let's see. Also, we'll be using sunflower lecithin. That will give it the consistency we need, and it acts as a emulsifier while making the gummies. We'll also be using potassium sorbate. You can get this and this off of Amazon. Potassium sorbate will give it a longer shelf life. I do have my apple flavoring, also purchased on Amazon, and it is a oil-based flavoring, so that means I'll have to use more lecithin, but since I'm using another oily substance. Last night I made the MCT oil, which is infused with 1 ounce of cannabis, and that is going to be going in the measuring cup here. It makes about a cup and a half when I make it, so I only use 1 cup in the making of the gummies. So let's go ahead and get this poured out to a cup. One cup of that in there. So let's go ahead and start first by opening up the gummy mix here. Or the gelatin, I'm sorry. And we put 1 packet of the gelatin into 2/3 cups of water. Once you get that in there, you go ahead and give it a good stir. You want to try to keep it consistent, keep it all dissolved. And it seems to work out the best when I use this packet. When I try doing separate pieces of ingredients and just putting it together separately, things don't turn out correctly for some reason. So let's get this all mixed in here. All of it in there, and we got it. There we go. Give it a nice good stir. You want to make sure it's all emulsified. I'm going to make sure it's all the powder has been wet down, and you're just going to go ahead and let this gelatin bloom while I'm starting the next portion of it. So basically, just let that sit until we're ready. Alright, there we go. That should be good. Next, I'm going to start heating my water. See, I got this hot plate from Walmart. It's a mainstay die-cast 2-burner hot plate. Wasn't that expensive. It works out good for down here. Down here is my main kitchen outside of my kitchen of my home. I have everything I need down here. For me to be able to check what my potency is going to be, I use the T-Check, which plugs right into or connects directly with my phone via Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and it gives me an accurate reading on what the weed is, the percentage of my weed is that's going into the recipe. So right now, I'm using 1 ounce of weed into 1 cup of MCT oil, and then I check the potency of it, and it's the 1 ounce of weed was at 20%. Alright, so once I put that in there, then I can go into my calculator and use the calculator to come up with what each gummy is going to be. So my calculator is very simple. You can find that on my app. which is also at my website, www.redwhiteandgreen.us. My app on there is called Green Finder. It has a dosage calculator. It works really well. Then, of course, I have my gummy mix goes into here. I use it to fill all my trays here, and I am using a pot leaf jello mold. So, once this gets started to get hot here, we'll go ahead and pour the gummy mix in there. And that is about the biggest part of this, is waiting for that to get hot. It seems like that takes forever. Once I do get that hot, I get that all mixed in. I can add all the rest of my ingredients, and it will be done. It's very, very simple. It's not a difficult process whatsoever. I always use bottled water for my ingredients because I do not like the tap water that's at my house. It is not that great. Even though I do live in town here, it still doesn't taste that well. And I don't want to screw up my gummy, the final product, with some foul tasting water. My wife got me this very nice water distiller, which I use from distilling all my water for my humidifier in my grow tent. So that's another great tool to have right here. And it looks like the gelatin is blooming nicely. I just need this to start getting its temperature going, and it's getting right about ready for me to start adding ingredients. So it's getting nice and warm. I always have that's the worst part about this that I always have problems with, is getting it right, the right temperature at the right time, and getting everything mixed properly at the correct time as well. Timing is everything in this. So as you can see, I do also have a half a cup of oil left, which we'll set over there for another time. Back here I got all my different things to make many different types of edibles. I can do anything from marshmallows, brownies, butter, MCT oil. I can also do coconut oil. And to make the coconut oil and the MCT oil, I use my Levo Lux right back here. Great machine, does not take that long. About 6 hours to make 1.5 cups of oil. That includes all the time for everything from decarbing it and then infusing it. All right, looks like we're getting some heat going here. So we can go ahead and start stirring in the gummy mix. And there we go. And this part is not a lot of fun because you got to constantly stir, keep everything moving because you do not want it to burn on the bottom of the pan. There we go, got the rest of that in there. Let's go ahead and get this moving. And once I get it going in there and it's all combined, then that's when I'm going to start adding my other ingredients in. So let's get this going. This part right here sucks because it's really hard to stir. It's getting really thick, but it will loosen up the hotter it gets. But that's another part, you got to keep it moving because you don't want it to burn on the bottom of the pan, otherwise you get a really nasty taste. All right, so this is coming together nicely. And if you guys have any questions, I'll put the entire ingredients on my website, and you guys will be able to see what's going on there. And we're almost ready to add the oil. This is not that difficult of a process. It's just making sure you do everything at the correct timing. And when I say timing, once you start making this a few times, you'll start to notice what I'm talking about timing. And there we go. Okay, so we got that going. It's just about ready for everything else. Just want to make sure you don't have a lot of clumps in there. Make sure everything's absorbed correctly. So here we go. We're about ready to add some oil in here. And when it comes to the sunflower lecithin, you gotta, I don't know how to judge it. You just gotta trial and error with the lecithin, because you have to have the correct amount of lecithin in there to get the oil to combine with the gummy mix. Otherwise, you just get a batch of oil, and it does not turn out too well that way. So okay, we got that in there. We're going to go ahead and add the oil. Okay, now I got the oil in there. Let's get it just stirred in real well. All right, it's stirring in real well. Now that I got that in there, I'm going to go ahead and add the potassium sorbate. And then my first spoon of lecithin. And that right there is 1 tablespoon. And I will definitely be needing some more. Alright, so the dark brown color is starting to absorb into the gummy mix. That's exactly what we want. Let me go ahead and add myself another tablespoon of lecithin. I don't know what you call it. Is it lecithin or lecithin? I'm not really sure. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and do a little more. The last batch I made, I didn't have enough in there, and the gummies turned out really horrible. And it was you could very well tell that I did not have enough lecithin in there, because it was nothing but oily gummy bears. They did not set up at all, hardly. So I got that in there. And what I'm going to do now is go ahead and just turn my mixer on. Get this all mixing real well. And while you're doing this, it's one thing you got to do once you start making this is you got to make sure you have everything set out exactly where you need it, what you're going to be using. And we're getting pretty good mixture here. And it looks like I might actually need a little bit more lecithin, but we'll see after I add this. Here we go, adding in the bloomed gelatin. Get that in there. And let's go ahead and pull this off of here. It's getting a little too hot too quick. Put it over on the other burner. Make sure we keep stirring it. Alright, at this point, I'm going to go ahead and add myself the flavoring. Got my flavoring in there. And the next part is going to be adding my food coloring. Since I'm doing apple, I like to use, with the apple flavoring, I like to use green food coloring. So what we got here is like green food coloring. And I usually use about 2 small syringes full of food coloring. And it is also oil based, so that also requires the more lecithin in there. And we're going to go ahead and see how that goes with that one right there. Let's go ahead and start mixing again. And I see the color going in real well. So let's get this all combined real nicely. And maybe use, I don't think you can use too much lecithin, but I have not gotten to the point where I've put too much in. I'm going to go ahead and add some more because it's still pretty watery. And once that's in there, let's give it some more stir. And it's starting to come out very nice. So you can tell usually by the consistency. Put some more back on the heat. And then when I got on the heat, go ahead and turn the blender back on. Get this nice and blended. And while it's blending, you just kind of keep an eye on it and see what you got going on. And it looks like everything's coming together nicely. Alright, and like I said, I got these gummy molds from Amazon. Each mold has 8 slots. And this recipe usually takes 9 molds for the main part. And then I have a little bit extra that's just not really being used, so I pour it into a gummy bear mold as well. And if it sets fine, then that's good. Those are mine for me to eat. I don't usually send out product that's not top notch. And so I just want to do a double take, make sure that what I have going on, I make sure I have everything I need to be in there that's in there. And it looks like this all came together real nicely this time. All right, next step, pour it into my little funnel dropper. Get it all in there. You don't want to waste any. And there we go. We are all ready to start filling the molds. So what we do here is start off. Okay, so they've sat out here for about an hour. And we're going to go ahead and start taking them out of the molds. Oh yeah. Welcome back. It's been overnight now, and these have set up very nicely. They have turned into probably one of my best runs yet. The consistency is great. The flavor is good. There's no excess oil or anything slimy about it. They turned out really well. And if you enjoyed this podcast, I'd like to ask you to please go to my website at www.redwhiteandgreen.us. Leave some comments there. Let me know what you thought about this episode, and let me know what you'd like to see next. Well, once again, from Red, White, and Green, and your host, Nathan Smith, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and stay green, my friends.
Look. I ain't scared of nothing, really they come from nothing. Boys think they the same, but all them niggas fronting. Why they mouth keep running, I've been up to something. Let me rap real quick. Look, washing that dirt off, they spit, I turn off. Same shit I heard y'all, who learned y'all, matter of fact, who birthed y'all. I think